Welcome to the Ascension Path with Twin Essence. I'm Lacey.
And I'm Marley, and we're your Starseed Lightworker and Psychic Medium hosts.
We're identical twins with spiritual abilities and Starseed missions on Earth. On the Ascension Path, we discuss what it's like to be identical twins serving in a spiritual capacity and provide insights into our work as Starseeds. We create a sacred space to receive channeled messages, intuitive teachings, and expansive conversations that elevate your frequency and support your evolution. Join us to learn about navigating the path to Ascension and becoming the most authentic, aligned version of you. Take what resonates and leave the rest. We are back from Croatia, and we are bringing you an episode packed with the Croatian codes, the wisdom, and everything that we have been integrating from our travels abroad. It really was a power activation, a goddess portal. And I think to truly understand Croatia and how Croatia called us, we need to talk about our quantum healing hypnotherapy sessions. Yes, we need to go way back to the beginning, and this episode is going to be different from our Starseed travel vlog of Croatia, but we need to go way back to the beginning and dig into the details of this. So let's start with quantum healing hypnosis sessions. So QHHT, we did these sessions, I want to say it was like 15, 16 months ago. Definitely over a year. And during that session, mine in particular, I channeled information about Marley and I traveling to Croatia. Now, at the time, I didn't even know where Croatia was. And Lacey's higher self was cheeky. I mean, she was like, they're going to Croatia. And then she kind of like giggled and was like, it'll be stressful. They'll figure it out. Ever the cryptic messaging from the higher self. Yes, and they would not elaborate on why we were going to Croatia, what it was for, other than we needed to, and we were being sent there, and there's a whole reason that we were going to be there. And we know as Starseeds and on our mission, and we've talked about this in our Starseed travel vlogs, travel is a very important part of what we do on Earth. We are called to locations. We have guides that literally plan this out for us. It happens through visions most of the time. A lot of times we have no idea where we're going. We just start to get visions, and then from there it'll slowly fall into place, and we trust it, and we know that we need to follow that urge and travel there. Absolutely. And I think what was interesting about how Croatia unfolded is it was not on our radar, right? Our first exposure to it would have been this QHHC session where I channeled just that teeny tiny bit of information telling us that we would be going to Croatia. And I did say, I remember at the time after the session, Lacey and I both said, we don't even know where Croatia is. Like, we don't, like, it's not on our radar at all. And I was getting visions of what I would call Mamma Mia, which we love. And I was like, "I think we're going to Greece, Marley." Yes, it was very, like, white buildings or white stone and, like, the very, very blue waters. We very much felt like it was our Mamma Mia. Like, Mamma Mia was what was calling us forward. So, I was totally convinced that the 2 of us were going to Greece. I was like, "Mamma Mia moment. We absolutely love these movies. It makes sense. This is where we're going next. I don't know where this Croatia thing is, but we're going to Greece for sure in 2026." Yes. And I think it's funny too because we've obviously been fans of Mamma Mia and the movies since, I mean, we saw it on Broadway, obviously in New York recently. But we've been fans of that movie since we were kids. We were like, this is our time. This is our moment. Greece is calling us. Yeah, that was not the case though. So in June of 2025, we would be initiated into what would be this experience in Croatia. But I want to take you back to that QHHT session because we had this talk after the session where we were like, okay, we don't know anything about it. What does this mean? And I want to say a week or 2 weeks. Like, it was a very short period of time. I think it was 2 weeks, honestly. After that QHHT session where I brought forward this information about Croatia, we get a DM one day on Twin Essence. And the DM is a post that says, Croatia is calling. And I remember distinctly because I was driving, Lacey was in the car next to me, and Lacey's like, oh my God, oh my God. She starts to react, right? And I'm like, what? What? Like, here I am driving, thinking like I got picked for like a reality TV show or something. And Lacey goes, somebody just DM'd Twin Essence, and the post says, Croatia is calling, and it's a women's retreat. And we were like, shut the fuck up, because honestly, We never in a million years thought that Croatia would come around, even though we trust and we trust in the higher self. We knew nothing about Croatia and we did not think that it was going to step forward in that way for us. I think we knew something would transpire, but I think it was so off the wall when I channeled it that we were like, I don't know what that means. And we don't attach to anything because everything you receive is typically like you're a moving dot in time where it's like what timeline are you on. So I didn't want to overly attach to whatever was channeled in that session because it's just like any other channeled piece of information, it could change. Like it's not finite. So I think we thought if it comes around, it comes around. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're fluid, especially when it comes to travel. Like you never know because we are quite used to the vision piece there, right? Like I remember when we had the visions of Scotland before we went to Scotland, and then like a month later, that trip that we went on to Scotland was announced, and we were like, "That's the thing, we're going on it." So we do have evidence that proves to us that this is a real, like our visions of these locations and where we go is totally divinely guided. But it just felt a little bit out of reach because we didn't know anything about Croatia. So the DM is about this post that says Croatia's calling. It's a women's retreat. It's focused on divine feminine. It's focused on goddess. There was a photo shoot involved. I read through the itinerary before I responded to the person because I wanted to see if it fit. It felt right. I was like, oh my God, I really want Marley and I to go. But the caveat to that was that it was being held at the same time that we were going to be in Canada at a different retreat. So I was like, I can't make it work this year in 2025. I was like, oh, I can't make it work in June of 2025. So I responded to her and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing this. We've been receiving downloads about Croatia and this definitely looks aligned, but we're going to be on retreat in Canada. So we won't be able to make it to this one. But if it's run again, we would totally go. And the person who DM'd us was not the retreat leader. So I don't really know what that was. I don't really know, like, I don't really know other than this person clearly gave us
A message. It
a
was a
message.
message.
Yes. And we knew though, seeing what we saw on the retreat, like we knew we were being called to connect to the retreat leader, to connect to the photographer. Like there were people that we needed to meet in Croatia and have this experience with in Croatia. And so that was when we were able to connect to the retreat leader and make this happen because I think it was only like a couple months before she announced, like, I'm holding another Croatia is calling goddess, reclaim your goddess retreat. And we were like, we are in, book us. Well, and I want to say, like, one stranger on the internet who DMs you something, like, it led us to where we needed to go. So we knew after looking into it, we were like, okay, who's the retreat leader? Who's the photographer? It felt very divinely guided. It felt very much in alignment. And we were like, this is what feels right. We feel like we need to meet these people, and whoever is going to be on that trip, it feels like it's right for us. So I want to say in early July of 2025, she was like, I'm going to do another one next year in June. And then, we unfolded this wonderful virtual Instagram relationship with the retreat leader, who is amazing. And we were like, all right, we're in, book us in the villa. And it was great because she was like, you don't even know me, but we were like, trust us, this is right. It's in alignment. We were like, perfect. We started to get to know each other through Instagram. We had a whole year to get to know each other, honestly.
Yes.
And it was incredible, honestly. So it was very, very spiritually guided, right? Divinely guided that we needed to be in Croatia at this time. And we trusted that there were people we needed to meet and that the right group would be put together. But as with anything we do that's divinely guided, there's always going to be a bit of duality. There's always going to be some growth edges that we need to meet and that we'll be called to transcend, called to move through. And Croatia, as magical as it was, definitely had some of those experiences for us. It was asking us to step up and embody everything that we talk about from that higher consciousness perspective. And it started that way from the very minute we booked it because I was at a point where I was potentially losing my job, like my day job, I should say. And I was like, gosh, is it the right move? Is it the right move to book to commit a year out to a retreat? I was like, I don't even know where I'm going to be. Like, is this the right move? But I remembered what my higher self said in that session, and she said she'll be stressed, but she'll make it work. And then she like giggled, and I was like, okay, so I really feel I need to do this. So I'm going to trust in this, even though I don't really have evidence of these other things that are going on in my life and where I'll be. So I think Croatia was an activation from the minute we opted into it.
I would
And
agree.
and then from there, we had a whole year to think about outfits, packing, all the things that go into that trip. So,
Which as a Leo sun consumes us.
well, no, we love it. We thrive on it. It's like a pastime, right? Like planning the fits, thinking about the photo shoot. And I'm not kidding. We like changed our photo shoot outfits several times leading up to
But the
Croatia.
amount of visions we had for the photo shoot, like normally when we do photo shoots similar to when we travel, we have visions for it. And I feel like we constantly were just in the vision of like, what is this? What am I wearing? What am I experiencing? How am I showing up? Who am I becoming through this experience?
But even in that itself, we were being pushed to really stop playing small.
Yes.
Like, there were things where if I could, like, I should probably do this, but like the outfits we were going to wear for the photo shoot ended up completely changing. like,
Ugh.
like ordering up until the very last minute we could to get the outfit for the shoot. And it was because we were getting different visions and we were trying to apply like logic to the branding shoot or the branding up level, I want to call it the branding expansion where we were going with Twin Essence. We wanted to apply this logic to it. And it was like at the end of the day, it was like stop making it logical and stop trying to make sense of it because whatever you choose in your individual expressions is how it's going to work.
Hmm.
And you don't need to worry about the colors and the style the way you're worrying about it.
And, this is a conversation for another time, but it actually reminds me a lot of our branding video where, like, we were totally throughout that branding video process, we were also going through some turbulence, and some duality as we were also trying to expand and realign. And we had the same thing happen, I think, where it was like we changed our outfit and our vision to get to the right point, and it's amazing, perfect where it is if you ever watch the We Are Twin Essence video on our YouTube channel. But that was another situation where we were like, why are we doing this? We didn't come to play small. We got to go big. That's the same thing Croatia asked us to do.
And if you've been following along, you can hear all about the branding video in the episode before this when we celebrated 1 year of the Ascension Path to Twin
Yes,
Essence podcast.
absolutely. So, more and more on this path, we go through these periods of expansion and these periods where we are continually asked to play bigger, step up even more, embody more fully. And it's incredible to go through the experience. I think one of the other things that had happened very, very up to the day before, literally the day before we left for Croatia, was normally our flight path, like we'll usually, we're in the Midwest. We usually go through Chicago, from there, find where we're going. And we received a message though from the airline saying that there were really bad thunderstorms coming to the Midwest and that they were providing a travel waiver that if you kept your departure and destination the same, no cost, you could change your flight. So at first we're like, don't panic, don't panic. Like the flights are tomorrow morning, it's probably going to be fine. Then we start looking at the weather and we were like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. We are not going to get stuck in Chicago. So we ended up pivoting and we were able to, no cost to us, change our flights, completely bypass Chicago, pop over to New York, New Jersey area, and basically arrived to Croatia the same time we originally wanted to. So we were really, really happy about that. But I remember at the time when it popped up, it was like a moment of like your breath hitches a little and like Lacey and I make eye contact and it's like everything's gonna be fine. I don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. Pivot. We're going to be fine. There are no problems.
And we just trusted that we were being given this opportunity to reroute ourselves and it was being divinely guided because we could have stuck with the original flights and gotten stuck and
Gambled. Gambled.
I'm sure there would have been a lesson in that, but we felt very strongly that we were being
Provided the opportunity.
yes to essentially go that route. So from the very moment we booked this trip, it's been the push. I also think one of the big themes is about visibility. It's like
Mhm.
take up more space, be seen, step into that goddess divine feminine energy because it's time, show the fuck up for yourself. And I feel like even now reflecting on it, like there's so much from this year that we've already like learned and integrated and gone through that really made sense now that we've gone through the portal that was Croatia. Um, but yeah, it was magic from the moment we got there.
Yes. And so another little growth edge I think about, or like I talk about these little challenges we experience because as you're going through this expansion process and your ascension process, oftentimes you might experience like greater dips in duality or that turbulence as I describe it. And you have to trust that it's happening for the greatest good and you can't let it completely derail you. So it's all about how you move from that higher consciousness. And so one other example I can think of that happened while we were in Croatia, aside from the fact that Lacey and I were extremely paranoid, we didn't want to get sunburned the whole time because we're very fair skinned and obviously the sun is intense and Europe started going through that intense heat wave while we were there. And then it's like the whole time you're there, you're just like, I will not do anything to derail the photo shoot. But we were in Bol, amazing city if you ever visited, amazing beaches. We went on a little walk. We were trying to find this cute little cove where there were some steps off of this abbey church area. And I had like pushed this gate by the cemetery forward. I didn't know it, but there was like a whole entire like family of wasps living inside the lock on the gate. And one of them like flies into my face. And so I'm kind of like, waving my hands around, whatever, it disappears. Then I walked back over to Lacey and the other women we were with, and I said, "Can you look? Did I get stung at all?" And they're like, "No, everything looks fine." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I just felt very weird after the experience though. And so we walk around a couple more minutes, and all of a sudden I'm like, I could feel this slight sting. It wasn't like a full sting. I've been stung by bumblebees before, never by a wasp, but there was like a slight sting, and so I'm like on my face, and so I'm like, "Okay, can you guys just check again? Did I get stung?" And all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, like, oh my God, you did on your cheek." And there was this little like raised spot. They took a picture of it to show me. And I was like, okay, okay. Then I burst into tears
Mm.
immediately because I was freaking out, not because it hurt, because I barely even knew it happened. Um, but I was crying because I was like, the photo shoot. Nothing can derail the photo shoot. So I kind of had this little meltdown moment where I had to collect myself. And
But it wasn't as bad as you thought. Like, we were
no.
like, it's really small. And I remember we were like, there's actually no, like, there's no broken skin. So it wasn't
Hmm.
like a full sting. It was almost like it maybe like pinched you or something.
Yeah, there wasn't like a red. Normally, there's like a red dot in the middle, and there was no red dot. And so I was like, I'm okay, I'm okay. And then the retreat leader's like, like the photographer will Photoshop this out if there's anything on your face. And I'm like, I don't want to be high maintenance. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm high maintenance as I'm crying on the beach. And then I'm like, okay, everybody hold up a towel. Let's change in public now.
But it was a good test to show like you don't have problems unless you make it a problem
Yes.
and to like trust in what you're co-creating, right? Because if you would have fallen apart and been like, it's done, I'm done now, and like thrown in the towel energetically, like then you can create that reality.
It would have swelled up, I guarantee you. It would have gotten way more inflamed. And the interesting thing about it is, so I had the moment, I had to release the emotions, I had to feel the emotions, but I was able to really quickly transcend it. Um, Not bypassing the emotions of it, like you can be in the emotions of it, but I was very quickly able to move past it of, you know what? I don't have a problem. This isn't a problem. And guess what? The raised bump on my face disappeared overnight. Like nothing happened. When I told the photographer, she was like, "What? I don't even see anything on your face." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. Like I heal myself."
But it is true, like you get to heal yourself and you get to create the reality and the moment that you want. So, I think the same can go for if you like fell and scraped yourself or you like
Hmm.
sprained your ankle or sprained something. Like you can easily give into the victimization of the moment and be like, I'm done, I ruined the trip, it's all over. Or you can be like, you know what? Like I'm not gonna make this a problem. I'm gonna do whatever I can to transcend this and move beyond it. And I'm going to like energetically raise my frequency and create the coherence that makes this physical problem disappear.
And I said what I say most often when Lacey and I travel, which is this is gonna make a fucking amazing story when I can tell everyone that I was stung in the face by a wasp a couple of days before our goddess photo shoot that was phenomenal.
And when you look at the goddess photo shoot, you will be like, I never would guess that any of this stuff happened.
Exactly.
Because the women that you are seeing in those photos have up leveled, let me tell you.
The women that you see today and are listening to today have up leveled. We have transcended so much and expanded so much from Croatia.
And every little bump in the road that we experienced that we chose the higher frequency of created that moment of who we've become in this new timeline shift and quantum leap.
even when the villa would run out of water at the end of the day from the extreme heat wave coming through. Even when the extreme heat wave hit Europe early and your two cold weather girls were melting a little bit because, we're not typically hot weather people. We're not warm temperatured people. That's why we typically travel to the UK. Come on, you know this. And we like the colder weather. We like a boot and a jean, okay?
We're autumn girlies.
We are, and so it was a big deal to choose the ocean island vibes and be able to trust in that and not get sunburned and not melt completely. But we did have moments where, like, the villa would run out of water because the heat. There's just, like, a weird fluctuation in the heat and temperature with the water, and the bay would just kinda, like, lock out for, like, an hour or so. But, like, when you've been on a boat all day, swimming all day, you're like, "Where's the water? I need a shower. The photo shoot's tomorrow." And we didn't have water that night. So, I don't know when it came back on at night. I just know that we went to bed full the sun, sand, sweat, and salt from the ocean on us, and we were like, "Okay, I guess we have to trust that this isn't going to ruin our skin for tomorrow's photo shoot
Yeah.
session." But it was hard for us to let go of that control and surrender it because we were like, "Our hair is full of seawater, and we need to clean up and look decent and have our skin clean at least for a photo shoot." So, it was a lot of, like, surrendering and trusting in what we were co-creating and knowing that nothing bad was going to happen. It was gonna turn out exactly the way it needed to be.
Yeah, and the same thing that happened, like, the same thing with our hair, like, Lacey and I had a little moment of, like, what are we going to do with our hair? We had found out that somebody wasn't there to professionally do it, so we were like, "Okay, what are we going to do?" We didn't have any, like, styling tools on us,
Or
like
product.
no, and Lacey and I typically aren't very good with hair on our own. And so luckily, the other woman on the trip with us, she had a flat iron that she knew how to curl with. So we were so, so eternally grateful, if you're listening to this still, and she knows this, that she was able to curl our hair to give it a bit of body for the photo shoot. But it was such a quick pivot and a perspective shift again, because it's like we could have been stuck being like, "Oh my god, panic, panic, freak out. What are we going to do?" Or we just roll with it. Whether the hair is supposed to be natural or if it was supposed to be curled and done by somebody, whatever happened, it was meant to happen the way it did, and we were able to very quickly expand through the process.
And then bless our makeup artist for using her
Setting
heavy duty
yeah,
setting spray on our hair because we had no hair
hairspray.
product and extreme heat. We're like, the curls are gonna fall out. Like,
Yes.
I'm okay if they loosen, but like I do need a little body at the same time. Yeah, and so we were like, I know this isn't normal, but like, can we use this face setting spray to fix it? It's called like fixing spray, and it was like heavy duty. Like she told us, I'm gonna spray this on, and like you could jump in the ocean and nothing's gonna move because it's so hot and you're gonna sweat during the shoot. And we were like, "Are you sure? Oh my god, we're melting." So we used that on our hair because we were like, desperate times call for desperate measures, and we have no problems, right? The universe has provided everything for us. So, it did work. I will say the heat loosened the curls, which was fine with us, but it did work. Worked for the session. It created the looks that you were seeing from the new Twin Essence branding photos. So,
Oh,
God bless.
I mean, it was incredible. And then, like, you have to think about all the gifts you received through this process and how much you learned through the process because we even had this another beautiful woman on this trip with us who was able to lend us jewelry for the shoot because Lacey and I we did not have earrings with us that would have fit what we were bringing to this photo shoot. And we were very, very, very grateful, again, if you are listening to this, that we had another beautiful woman on this trip with us who was able to lend us some earrings and lent me some rings as well. Absolutely, it turned out incredible and it was so divinely guided, but also we were just taken such good care of. Like, Mhm.
I think one of the
Mhm.
biggest things we learned from being in Croatia was it was a lot about receiving, honestly,
Mhm.
like, not just moving into that up next level of visibility and taking up space and power, but it was this level of receiving because the women on that trip, like, we all took such good care of each other, and whether it was getting massages done and having a private chef or having someone who doesn't really know us be like, "Hey, wear these pearls for the photo shoot, like, they would look amazing with your outfit. You need the earrings to complete the look." And it was so generous and so fulfilling. Like, we felt very expanded by that energy, and it felt really good to not have to worry about things and have things taken care of and receive it.
Mhm. And I think too, the other thing that was really, really obvious throughout this experience was, we're sharing all these little bumps or edges that we experienced throughout this trip and how it's making an amazing story and how we were able to move from that higher consciousness perspective, not make it a problem. It enhanced the experience, it expanded us, it transformed us. But the same thing with the retreat leader. Like, we had watched her pivot and move through things as well as a leader, as somebody who's hosting and leading and designing this experience for everybody. And she was able to just very quickly move through things and not make it a problem again, just like us. Like, it's not a problem. We'll just do this instead. Or I'm going to find something else this time. Or I'm going to do this instead. And it worked out amazing. And making pivots with grace and holding that higher frequency when making those decisions to make sure it's in alignment, not just being reactive to like this didn't work out the way we thought, so let's react to it. It was very like
Mhm.
consciously driven with the decisions and pivots that were made and not bypassing the emotions. Like, you still have the emotions. Like, sometimes you need to have a little angry stomp and a scream when the water doesn't work. And then it's like, okay, there was my little tantrum for a minute. Now I'm going to like pivot. Now I'm going to figure out what is actually going on here. What can I do? What's going to work for me? What's not going to work for me? But seriously, like, such an incredible trip. Like I said, from massages to a private chef, we hiked the Dragon Caves. We had a whole yacht day out on
Mhm.
island hopping and jumping to different boats. The Green Caves, honestly, all of it's in our Starseed travel vlog. Yes, so you'll want to check that out to see actual like depictions of what things looked like and the reflections of it in real time while we were in Croatia. And then, of course, our favorite transformation throughout this entire time in Croatia was our goddess photo shoot. Which to an essence, we're always goddesses, let's be honest. Take a look at our photos, look at our branding. But this was truly a transformational experience. And we were able to really, one, we obviously had outfits we had planned, but curate that, enhance it with the jewelry we were lent to wear, um, and then create this playlist for us. Like, what do we want to emit in this photo shoot? What do we want to experience? And so we designed this playlist for it that Lacey and I are always gonna listen to this playlist now and just be able to go to that place, I think, energetically. Yeah, I don't even know how to, like, describe it to you, but I feel like I could not have made up a better scenario in my dreams for how it transpired, because there was just something about the energetics of being in Milna, the small town on the island, and being on side streets, um, and, like, blaring "American Girls" by Harry
Ugh.
Styles, which is just, like, already a really
Mm.
meaningful song to Marley and I, and there was something about, like, stepping into that identity and version of ourselves while playing that music in this other country and foreign area, and these power poses. I know we were near a church, which was really funny for the photo shoot, but there was this particular scene we did with, like, a chair and sitting in a chair in the street, and actually, what was ironic is right after American Girls, this song came on, and we were setting up the chair scene, and it was a Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco song. Yeah, and it was like it was like booty, booty, booty. It was honestly really funny. It was so
It's really funny.
funny because it was not on our playlist and it came on, and we were like sitting in the chair, and it was like, I'm not gonna get up and change the playlist while I'm already on scene being like doing the
And then,
session.
like, in the process of us holding a power pose, this song coming on that we're like, "I don't know what this is." It was like a guy literally had to stop in the street. And, like, men were stopped, they were just like, "What is going on?" Like, people are just staring, like, "What is happening right now?" And I'm like, "Just let me transform you right now."
We were like, let us be witness in this transmission and transformation taking place.
All about visibility, all about
It
visibility.
was, and we were very actually comfortable with it. I
Mhm.
actually surprised myself. And then after the song, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna put the playlist back on. I don't really know why it diverted. It was in my like Spotify queue, which makes no sense. So I just thought that was really funny because then later we found out that's a song that's in Off Campus.
Which we're obviously huge off-campus fans, so we were like, what's the message here? What are they trying to tell us right now?"
It was like during the drunk Shakespeare scene when you find out Allie is calling Dean.
There's your spoilers, everybody.
And so we were like, what does this synchronicity mean now that we know this? But it was interesting in and of itself. But yeah, I just felt
so up-leveled by it and so seen and so transformed, and I even we did part of the shoot in Milna in the streets, and then we did part of it back on the water, on these rocks by the water, and
The shores of the Adriatic.
yes, and it was so, I don't even know the words to describe it, but I there was a moment where we were doing this, like, pose on the water, and I just felt like I looked into the camera lens and I had this like really weird energetic experience of I felt the portal or the transmission, whatever you want to call it. I just felt it move through me and I was like, holy shit, like she's arrived. It just felt like here we go. There's always going to be before Croatia and there's always going to be after. And
Mm.
there isn't any going back. Like you don't go back. It's just like when you wake up, you don't go back to sleep. So there's no going backwards energetically now.
I feel like it was actually like a pure essence of the divine feminine. Like we always talk about the divine feminine as like yes, there's receiving in it, but it's a magnetism. It's an obsession. It's an attraction. It is power. And that like I'm chilled even talking about it and going back to that memory. That really is what it felt like. On a more tangible level, we always talk about like when you're embodying divine feminine, it feels like when you're feeling yourself, like when you put on a great outfit and you're feeling yourself. It was like that, but, like, times 1,000,000 of, like, the magnetism, and it was, like, effortless, it was like, "They come to me, I am what I am the power, I am the force," and I will always think of American Girls playing while doing that, and I'm always going to also think of Supermodel by Måneskin. Yes, yes, it was a very, very just empowering Yes.
experience and something that I will take with me probably for the rest of my life. It's never gonna be the same. Like, I'll never be able to do a photo shoot, I feel like
The same way.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I do wanna talk a little bit about the intentions that were set at the beginning of the trip versus at the end. And so we all had done different, like, opening circles and ceremonies during it, but the word that was chosen for me, in my experience, was expansion when I started out the trip, and my word was becoming. And so it was all about that up level, but also just expanding myself. And you were all about becoming. So it's like, yeah, it was like she needed to arrive, she needed to be seen, she needed to be felt, heard, all of it. And she was, and she is now. And she was expanded. And by the end of the trip, the word changed for me. And the word became power, which was really what a lot of what we were doing was being seen in our power and fully accessing our power. And for me, I kept the word becoming, but as I've integrated and since moving into our own space, just Lacey and I away from the group, one word that started to come up after the retreat and that I think continues to come up is belonging. Because we were this special group that we all manifested each other, put together for this experience in Croatia. And it was nothing was a coincidence. So the women in this trip, the women in this group, everybody happened to be divorced except for Lacey and I. And everybody had had experiences with their partners or their former partners moving on with like younger women who were the same age as Lacey and I. And so it was an incredible mirror that we were experiencing in this group between the others and what they were going through in their personal lives, and then what Lacey and I were going through with our power, our transformation. Um, and it was just so perfectly planned, so perfectly curated that we couldn't have made this any better ourselves if we would have tried to control the experience. Absolutely. And I think that with the shift in the collective right now, like more and more women are coming together. And like you said, belonging, Marley, like we haven't always belonged in the
Mm-mm.
spiritual space or other spiritual communities and spaces. Like we've always been the weirdos, the ones that like not everybody wants to engage with. Like we've definitely felt like misunderstood or left out before. Um,
And that wasn't the case. We were like, it felt like I kept saying it felt like family because it was like everything you could get in a family and with especially with the comfortability we had. Like if I can feel as comfortable around you as I do with my family, that's a really big deal for us. And this thing that Lacey and I have experienced, this pattern we've experienced our whole lives of like not fitting in, not belonging, having a hard time making friends, especially with groups of women, it totally dissolved because we know, especially as Leo sons,
we change the room around us and we create the belonging. And that is part of our magic. And I think that that was completely magnified when we were in this group together.
It's part of the magic of being amplifiers.
Yes.
But I was going to say, I think like one of the collective themes that we experienced on the trip too was about bringing women together. And for so long, women have been pitted against each other, right? It's part of how it feeds the 3D programming, it feeds the Matrix to keep women villainizing each other or pitted against one another. And even in the mirroring of the divorce and younger women and all of those themes and conversations that unfolded, I think it would be super easy for someone to look at a younger woman and think like something's wrong with her and there's no value or substance there. And we're moving away from that because it's like we're all one.
Hmm.
And she's not actually the villain of the story.
Yeah. I think too, like, I mean, one, the transformation and the individuals that we met and spent time with were incredible. But I also think about like what we were able to receive away from them too, not just from the observations, the experiences that we've already talked about, but I think about like the end of the retreat and when we speak to each other and when we share things about each other. Like, I know at one point we were described as genuine. And I think that's the biggest compliment in the world that it's like what you see is what you get with us. But I also think, like, somebody had also said, like, "I've never met anybody like you, let alone at our age."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Why, thank you. I could have told you that." No, I think it just speaks to, um, owning your natural gifts, owning your identity, and, like, and what it feels like to fully step into your power.
Absolutely. And I feel like I walked away from Croatia very much changed and transformed. But I feel like I walked away and I thought, I want more of this. Like, I want more of these kinds of experiences because that was expansive, that was fun, that was fulfilling, and I did nothing to receive any of it other than be myself.
And that's exactly what we're going to be creating, if not already. We have our Starseed Portal membership space, and that's again similar to what we've already talked about. Like, that's a space that any woman can come on her journey, on her ascension path, discovering her Starseed origins, trying to understand and make sense of things, and she can come and she can feel like she belongs. She knows that she has space for her.
Absolutely. And that is where we create that container of belonging, of transformation, of magic, of bringing women together for the cosmic sacred experiences of aligning with their starseed blueprints and navigating their ascension paths. So, if you are ready to transform, step onto your ascension path, reach your highest timeline, find a space that resonates with you energetically with women who are navigating the same journey, now is the time. Step into the Starseed Portal membership. We welcome you into the portal. And then I'd like to close out the episode with a big shout out to our retreat leader, Sandra, our photographer, Paige, and then shout out to Tracy and Natalie for making the experience just as magical as it could possibly be. We wouldn't have had it any other way.